Oh, Foxy, it's your birthday. Not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
It's an L shape, so oftentimes if you position yourself right here in the center, you can see down both hallways. But that's
okay.
The gist of the
Okay.
We'll come down this hallway. This is our 3-4 hallway. Last year we had to move our 5th graders outside because it just rained.
Okay.
All right. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is our library.
Great job. Proud of you, Justin.
Our library also is an example of our limited space. Half of it is the library, the other half is professional development, and then 2 offices in the back for our director of operations and finance, and then our director of community school. One way that we are showing our commitment to the community school model is by hiring a position that specifically works on that. When you think about the director of community school, they're our external facing partner manager, they conduct needs assessments to determine what our students need and our families need, and then they go out in the community and find partners to fulfill those needs. Our library, we do not have a full-time librarian, but we do have the best volunteer committee you could ever ask for, which is of parents and neighbors who run our library. They come in, they restock books, they check books out for students, they write grants for our books, and it's all being done by volunteers.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
So we'll come down here. All right, let's do it. Right. Then, as I said, this is our 3-4 hallway. I'm going to show you one of our exciting programs we have. This past year, we have a partnership with VIPA. We were able to secure some funding to open up the VIPA STEM Lab here at ICS. This is the first one in the United States, but they hope to take this model and use it to open up STEM labs at other schools. But our students get access to STEM one period each week, and they come in and they have. Take a seat. I have a raise. They have. Let's see, she's not here. We have 3D printer. Oh, she's not here. We have a 3D printer. We have robotics. They're working on hydroponic growing. Students love it. One of the projects. Hi. I have a visitor. We just checked out the STEM lab.
Yeah, next week's gonna be the last week in STEM lab. So we're gonna play.
So we have our robotics.
Okay.
Our 3D STEM lab. Our hydroponic growing.
Okay.
And then the students are working. Miss Lara, what are you guys working on to close out the year in STEM?
Well, we're doing a lot of different things. I kind of don't want to spoil.
Okay.
Kids. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. I know they've done things like build their own conduct like oven, so they can make s'mores. So some of the students use the sun to see how to grow, and then some of them use lamps to see which one would melt. And come out and talk to our kids. We have the Super Soaker as part of building. So they would love to have that. So this is our outdoor growing garden area. Have a dedicated gardener that helps us with our beds. This is a classroom space for students that come up here to learn and see all different phases of nature. It's beautiful. We're actually having a volunteer event later on this week where we're going to post it out here in our garden area.
Will you have future volunteer events for your garden area?
Always, yes. Hi. We usually do volunteer days at least once a month is what we do. But we've had different organizations come out and do things like put together outdoor play equipment, paint our fences, plant flowers. One of our gardens over here is actually the one that shows out. Last time I was over here, we had kale growing, greens growing. And we've been able to take these and provide them as snacks for our students. They get to try out the different vegetables that they've planted. And yeah, this is an exciting potato. So what do you have in here? Collards, kale,
Swiss.
broccoli?
No broccoli. We're gonna do corn instead here, popcorn along here.
Okay.
And that basil, purple basil.
Purple basil.
Yes, and you have tomatoes coming up.
Very
And
cool.
peppers.
Peppers. Okay, it looks really good, Georgette.
Thank you.
Georgette is one of our gardeners.
Oh, very nice.
Gardeners. So this is our outdoor area. Our students get to come out here and play soccer. This is an old elementary school that was built in 1950. So what I often tell people is that it was built for the way we educate. It educated back in the 1950s, but not so much for how we educate now. It's served its purpose, but when we think about elevating our offerings, we really need to have a space to be able to do that. IB curriculum often calls for project-based learning, and our classrooms are short about 100 square feet.
Okay.
And you can fill it. When you get students in the classroom and you're trying to spread everyone out so that they can work on projects, you can feel the tightness of it all. So we'll come over here. Another interesting thing is that the gym is probably the newest building on site. And I've been here now for 6 years, and within my time, we added air conditioning. So bless all the people who had gym in this building before this. They would bring in industrial fans and just go pee. So our outdoor garden space is a wildlife sanctuary, a certified wildlife sanctuary. We come out here and do our pollinator counts. We do our bird watches, and it's really a fun area for our students. Then we come here, and this is actually our K2 hallway. I tell people all the time, you can see the difference, and the hallways based off of the grade levels. Our kindergarten classes tend to be more colorful. Friends, let me get to the side, okay? Oh no, thank you for holding the door. All right. Excuse me. Excuse me. Hello. So, K2 classrooms tend to be colorful, and 3-5, and it's about business. So they're not as... We're getting ready for our art festival, which is next Tuesday. All the students will have art displays. Parents will come and be able to do like a gallery walk to see their students' artwork. And then they're able to purchase the artwork for a small donation. It's whatever they want to donate. They can
Gotcha.
purchase their student artwork. But there's some really good stuff here. And this is our kindergartners, so you can see the creativity that a lot of them have when it comes to their artwork.
Okay. And when you were mentioning, like, for the library, the books and everything there, are y'all open to also donations from authors and writers? Also, writers coming to speak also.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're open to all of those things. We want to be able to provide our students with as many opportunities as possible to offer them opportunities for constantly learning, you know.
Because I know there's a program with, I think it's with Apple. They partner with a comic slash animator here in Atlanta, and he actually does classes with students of how to do digital art. So I will reach out to them and ask them about, like, how can we get that set up for your school also.
Absolutely, we would love that. So yeah, these are all our kiddos.
Okay.
As you can tell, we are one of the most diverse schools in the county. I tell people all the time, if you want to see it, we've got it. We got a little bit of everything.
Yes.
So it's so exciting.
Which reflects the world,
Yes,
which that's what you want.
Reflects the world. But as you can see, some of our artwork. This is second grade, so you can kind of see the way the art matures as we walk the hallway.
Exactly.
And then we come right back to the front of the school. We do have classrooms outside in our modules, but we won't go out there. Hi, Medicine. You okay? Hands are not real. Huh? Hands are not real. Not today. Not today. Not today. Keep your hands straight. Thank you. And we're back to the front of the school.
Okay.
So this is our pet mascot, Scorch. We got Scorch, I believe, 2 years ago. So we adopted him, and every year we have a gotcha day for Scorch.
Okay.
To honor and rest peace in here. Derek Dragon. And when the kids leave, you can tell he gets so sad. Oh. But he's nosy. He's typically up here on his little hammock, and he's just watching as they walk by.
Okay.
But when they leave, he's just waiting, like, for the day they come back.
Exactly. When he can hear all of them.
Yeah. So these are actually our students here. 2 years ago, we celebrated our 20th anniversary. We partnered with an organization to make these images for our kids.
Very nice. So, as you were telling me when I first, oh, you're from we have the lovely principal coming through.
Yes, this is Diamond. Diamond's our principal. She's over all things academic.
Okay. Well, here, as you were mentioning to me as I first came here, that International Community School was created 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. What was the inspiration to start the school?
Well, our founders saw a need for educating immigrant refugee children alongside local children. Mm-hmm. During that time, there had been an influx in immigrants and refugees in the community. And so they saw that and said, hey, let's create a school where children who are coming in with interrupted educations can learn alongside local kids and create this kind of synergy and mutual respect for diversity in different cultures. And they came up with the idea of creating International Community School.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. Now, this school is doing some really amazing things. As you were telling me earlier, you have the STEM program, which now that we're not in the classroom, and of course y'all see in the footage that I took around the school, we kind of went in there, that they didn't want to spoil it for some of the kids. What is like you were telling me, some of the aspects that the kids get to learn in that STEM, in the STEM lab?
We've done robotics in the STEM lab, they've done programming, they've done 3D printing, which was really exciting for the students. A couple of weeks back, they made their own convection ovens with the goal of creating s'mores. And so some students got to take their ovens outside and they were using the sunlight to melt the chocolate and the marshmallows, and then other students used lamps. And so they were comparing the end result versus sun versus the lamp to see what the best outcome was. So those are some of the activities. And then, of course, our planning. We have our hydroponic tower in there, so students get to see that happening. But the STEM lab has been definitely an added benefit. It makes learning all things STEM fun for our students.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you're mentioning your grade level currently is K-5, our kindergarten, to middle school, which would probably be into the 8th grade, correct? And your hopes is to expand to have the full organic from daycare all the way to high school.
Yep.
Of course, as you probably see from the footage, the school that they have is very small and they're outgrowing it. So they're looking to grow and expand. And I did see, it was a couple months ago, I can't remember the school, they partnered up with Sugarloaf Mall and used a portion of the mall for their school. So for people out there that is trying to connect you to opportunities for a new location, whether it's a mall that is kind of retiring to that, what is the process for someone to get that in front of you to start those conversations?
Just email me.
Okay.
I am always responding to emails and different things that are being sent to us as opportunities. We will leave no stone unturned. So people bring us things, we'll investigate it. Of course, there's certain things that we have to kind of work through. There are different requirements from a county level as well as a state level. But once we get past all that red tape and determining if a site is a potential site for growth, we're very much interested. So that's the uniqueness of charter schools.
Yes.
So charter schools, you will find them often in malls. You will find them oftentimes in old churches that are no longer being utilized, especially after COVID, after more churches moved to online formats. They found that this 75,000 square foot building isn't being used like it used to. So oftentimes charter schools will have partnerships with churches and will be housed there. And then, of course, anything from just a new ground up construction is also an option. So we're exploring all of those and determining where our next location will be. But our main goal is to be in community.
Yes. And I know you were telling me, which was very fascinating, you're the third oldest charter school in Georgia. But you're the students here, you have a third that is in Clarkston, a third that's in Stone Mountain. So you have a situation for transportation for your students to make it readily available for them. For those that are out there that may have connections to ground transportation, how is that process to try to get more ground transportation for the students out here?
Transportation is definitely a big cost for us as an organization.
Yes.
We used to partner with the county in terms of providing transportation, but then coming out of COVID, the county experienced, like a lot of industries, just shortage in workers. And so with the shortage in bus drivers, we were informed that they were no longer able to help us with that, which was completely understandable.
Yeah.
We knew that we had bus drivers that were showing up often that had run 3 or 4 different routes before they got to us to take our students home. So we understood. It was definitely not ideal, but we understood why the county needed to make the decisions they made. But if someone has access to resources or know of innovative ways for transporting students, we would of course be interested in having those conversations, because what we know is that often with school choice, one of the biggest barriers is transportation.
Yes. Yeah.
Because parents are expected to provide transportation for their students. But if you think about the population that we're serving, oftentimes families don't have transportation readily available. Maybe there's only one person in the home that actually have a driver's license. Oftentimes with some of our families, women they're not driving yet. There's a goal and desire to learn to drive, but they're not driving yet, especially when they first get here. And so we know that in order to ensure that the students that we want to serve are able to get to our school, we have to provide transportation.
Gotcha. And I know from your impact report that you provided me, 69.1% of your students come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. And but then you also show that because of the program you have here, even though they come from disadvantaged backgrounds, they are outperforming the state goal of progress for the state of Georgia. Compared, a lot of parents have to look at between the public schools and the charter schools. What makes the international community schools stand out versus your typical public school?
Okay, so I have to first acknowledge, and you may have people in your audience that are listening who are like, charter schools are not public schools, but they are.
Yes.
Charter schools are public schools. We are We have the same standards and expectations that normal traditional schools will have, but what's unique about charter schools is that we also have a lot of space to innovate. And so it's through those innovations that we're able to kind of get some of the results that we have in the classroom. And so one of the things that we've done as a school is we've ensured that all of our teaching staff is ESOL endorsed. So while students will get pulled out for individualized ESOL supports, that's not their all-day education. They still have to go back into their classrooms with traditional students. So what we've done is we've made sure that our homeroom teachers are ESOL endorsed so that we have that continuity of services when the students aren't having that pulled out support. So that's innovation.
And for those that are not familiar with the term ESOL is, can you give insight into that?
So those are our students who are English isn't their first language.
Gotcha.
Okay, so they get more specialized supports in terms of acquiring the English language. So that happens through a pull-out model where a small group of kids in the same grade level will go to an ESOL teacher who that's all they do all day is teach ESOL, but then they'll go back into their classrooms and typically ESOL is an intervention. When that intervention is done, they go back into their classrooms, and the goal is over time for those students to leave those services. So oftentimes we get asked how many of our students are receiving ESOL services. That number fluctuates throughout the year because as some students are being newly identified, other students are leaving the program because they've met the metrics they need to be able to no longer need that intervention.
Okay. And then, of course, and to go back to your explanations of what made the international community school different than the public school. Have you go back to where you were going with that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other innovative things that we do is we have our own Grow Your Own teacher pipeline program. And so what we recognized coming out of COVID was that, of course, the teaching profession was going to face some uncertainty, but we also have another layer of uncertainty that we have with our student population, which is that language component, right? So our Grow Your Own program is a partnership we have with Refugee Women's Network, where we identified highly qualified candidates who maybe in their home countries have experience teaching. Oftentimes they may have a master's or some type of higher education in learning, but what happens is they typically come to the United States and they're told that those degrees don't have any credit or value. But what we do is we take that talent, and if there's a desire to become a teacher, we support it and cultivate it. So that's innovation. And so what that's allowed us to do is to have within our staff 4 additional languages spoken amongst our teaching staff, which helps with parent engagement. Because what we also know oftentimes, classroom outcomes are tied to parent engagement. Well, if you show up in a school and no one speaks your language, how are you going to engage? So we have people on our staff who speak Arabic, we have people on our staff who speak Burmese, we have people on our staff who speak Chinese, and so we're able to communicate with parents about their students in real time. And then if there's ever a language that we don't have within our staff, we use a language line. And so these things cost money, and so we typically raise funds or we write for grants to help close the budget with these extra things that we do for our community that's different than what you would see in a standard school.
Okay. Now, of course, you know, not until I got introduced to your school through NAP, the professional development organization I'm a part of, there's probably a lot of parents that don't know you're here. How would a parent, especially that is here locally, or that one that wants that holistic and that rigorous education for their children, to be connected to your school and find out if their child is qualified to be able to be a student here?
Absolutely. So first things first, you have to be a DeKalb County resident. There are some charter schools that have a larger catchment net, but we are specifically a DeKalb County charter school. So once you've determined that you live within the boundaries of the county, we hold a lottery annually. So the lottery was held in February this year. And so once the lottery is held, then seats are given out to the students based off of how they fall within the lottery. But I will say that English language learners have a higher weight. We have a weighted lottery. So if you are an English language learner, the likelihood and chances of you being able to get enrolled in our school is going to be slightly higher than some other students who may not have that linguistic background. So once the lottery is held, seats are given, but then we have a wait list. So as with any school, things happen throughout the year that could have an impact on a student's ability to actually show up the first day. And so once we've exhausted, once you've given the seat, if we have open seats, we pull from our lottery. So I often tell parents, kindergarten is typically a harder grade level to get in outside of the lottery period, but other grade levels, as students leave for different reasons, maybe parents are relocating or whatever the case may be, their seats open up and we have availability as the year progresses.
Very nice. Okay. And one thing also that I saw very different with your school, along with you have your STEM lab, but then you also have a garden, which the students are learning gardening, but also you utilize the garden in other ways. Can you tell the audience more about your community? I call it a community garden that you have there.
It is very much a community garden. It's an extension of our classroom. You know, our teachers are able to go out and we have different modules set up that allow them to take pre-planned lessons and use them with their classes in terms of our garden space. The garden space is very much a pride area for us as a school. It's beautiful. We are oftentimes planting new vegetables. We're looking at ways to grow and expand our vegetable offerings by adding in traditional plants that might be grown in some of the cultures that our students are coming from so that they have access to those vegetables here. We also have 3 master gardeners on staff. So we have the expertise in the building to keep our garden growing throughout the year. Another part of our garden is that we implement many of the vegetables that are grown in our gardens within our fresh fruits and vegetables program. So students are able to try new vegetables that we've grown, and our nutrition manager supports that program.
Very nice. I know you were telling me earlier that you have a food co-ops program. Can you tell the audience about your food co-op program?
Yes, that's actually a program that NAP has supported before in the past. So if you think about it, our school can do the baseline of educating. It's all of those programs that are on top of your baseline where we have to have support from our community to support. So definitely appreciate the support that NAP has given us in the past to run our food co-op. But what the food co-op is that every other week, in partnership with Urban Recipe, which is another local nonprofit in the Atlanta area, they come out with a big truck full of fresh fruits and vegetables. Sometimes they have household goods, and then we're able to provide 50 families with access to the food co-op. And so the way that we pay for this is through grants and support from community partners, but the way that the families pay for it is through sweat equity. So they're out every week working as a team, sorting through all the different vegetables, making sure that everybody gets their fair share of what's available. And that has been something that's unique, because what we also know, based off of where our students live in DeKalb County, a lot of them are coming from communities that are also food deserts.
Yes.
And so this is just another way that we solution the challenges that our students experience outside of the classroom, because we recognize that educating kids is not within a silo. We have to make sure that we're addressing those barriers that exist before they walk in the door. Because if you're hungry, if you don't have access to proper nutrition, if you don't have access to medical care, you're already walking in the door with a barrier.
Yes.
But if we can work as a community to solution those things, then your outcomes in the classroom and your opportunity to succeed is exponentially higher.
Yes. Okay. So especially for your food co-op, I know there's other organizations that I'm familiar with that work with farmers here in the Georgia and Metro Atlanta area. So if any of them were interested in donating or even teaching aspects, how could they be able to join the co-op or partner with your community garden?
Absolutely. Email us. We have our Director of Community Schools, which is really the partner, our position that supports external partners that are looking to work with the school. We have our Director of Student Success, which is more internal facing partners that are working with students to tackle barriers and whatever exists to student success. So just reach out to us. You can go to our website at www.icsgeorgia.org to learn about all the programs that we offer. But you can also email us at hello@icsgeorgia.org if you have resources or ways that you want to engage with our community to support our work.
Very nice. I know also from your the information you shared with me, you currently serve 500 students here annually from the grades K through 5 that represent more than 60 countries and speaks over 31 languages. You definitely give that true essence of international community, because we often see with a lot of the schools, you don't have that vast diversity within the student population. With being tied into what your mission is, how has it been for the teachers you bring in to continue to have that impact into not only the rigorous and holistic education, but actually being that support to those students and families coming to your school?
It has to be an alignment between their why and our why. I mean, we can teach you how, we can teach you the what, but if your why does not align with what our organization's why is, then there's misalignment. So with our recruitment process, we intentionally look for people who understand working with diverse student populations, understand the challenges that come with working within a Title I school. It's not a Monday through Friday 7:40 to 3:40 job. I mean, you're going to have to do preparations and things outside of the school day to be able to stay on top of the workload. I will also say, though, that we have a really solid retention rate. So oftentimes teachers come here and they fall in love with our why and they never leave.
That's beautiful. Because unfortunately, a lot of times in the public school system, you see a turnover that a teacher is not there for more than a couple years before they leave. And another program that I know you were telling me that y'all have here as part of your collaborative is your International Community Collective, which is your wraparound services. Can you elaborate on those wraparound services that you provide?
Yes. So the creation of the International Community Collaborative is the creation of what we would refer to as a quarterback organization that would be kind of the parent company for all of the different other ventures that we would like to look into. One of those things is the wraparound services. So if we were in a new school site, our goal would be to bring 30 different partners within our building providing wraparound services for our families. So those could look like anything from dental services, mental health services. They can often look like workforce development, economic empowerment services. They can also look like additional adult education programming. It's really about identifying what the needs of the community are and then bringing those partners under one roof to help solution those things. And that's how you create that holistic approach to education and then implementation of those wraparound services to meet the needs. Think about this. We recently had our dental clinic about a month ago, and we had over 40 students who participated in our dental clinic. The dental clinic shows up, sets up, student is pulled out of the classroom typically during their specials, sometimes at lunchtime, sometimes at recess, for 20 to 30 minutes, at which time they get to see a dentist who is able to do basic level services for the student, right? Now, what that has done is that has alleviated the stress of the family from having to coordinate when to take this child to the dentist.
Yes.
It also alleviates the stress of the student because they're not missing any class.
Yes.
You know, so those are the type of services that we want to be able to offer our students. And so those things help with attendance and absenteeism if you're able to solution them right on campus. You know, I think about an ideal world where the International Community Collaborative or Collective is the International Community Collaborative is up, fully functioning. And so you have a one-stop shop where the school serves as a hub for all of the needs within the family and the community. So that looks like you drop your kid off and your kid needs a dentist. Okay, the dentist is there to provide those services. At the end of the day, mama needs to go around to the back to get some support with filling out an application. Okay, those services are on site. Mom's able to do that. Mom's able to drop off her child who's attending a preschool program in our early learning cooperative. And then at the end of the day, she needs to pick up a couple of the items for her family because there's not a grocery store. And she's able to do those things within the same building, within the same footprint through an on-site grocery. So whatever the needs are, you're able to fulfill those needs with one stop. So that would be the International Community Collaborative up and fully functioning. We're just working as an organization to remove barriers.
Very nice. One of the things that was also I felt made you stand out is you've implemented a program for self-care for your teachers, which a lot of times I come from a mother, as I told you, that taught for 47 years from all grade levels all the way to high school, but the end of her career was the pre-K program, helping to launch it here in Georgia all the way up into her retirement. I know personally the work, the long hours, and then also a lot of the funds that come out your own pocket to provide for your classroom. But one of the programs you were telling me about for your teachers is you have a 6-week self-care for your teachers. Can you talk about that program and any other programs you have for your teachers?
Absolutely. So our 6 weeks of self-care program runs between November to the holiday break. So what we know in this industry is that period of time can be oftentimes the most stressful, the most work-heavy periods for teachers, where we often see a lot of times the burnout before teachers go out on their breaks, right? So our 6 weeks of self-care is 6 weeks of programming that we offer our staff to help solution those challenges that they're encountering, whether that is offering up healthy snacks during the week for staff to partake in, offering on-site yoga classes for staff to take part in. We've had Zumba that we've offered during those 6 weeks. Typically what we do is we go to the staff, we ask, what do you need, what do you like, what do you want, and then we work to deliver those things during those 6 weeks so that we can make it to the finish line. You know, it's all about how can we get you to that end of that semester, so that, because we know you're going to have 2 weeks off to regroup and then come back. So 6 weeks of self-care is our answer to that. It's really about taking care of one's body, taking care of one's mental health to ensure a successful end to the semester.
Very nice. And do you have any other programs that you have for your teachers throughout the years to kind of support and also elevate them?
Yes, we have. We're truly a collaborative community, so nothing that we do is typically done in a silo. So we're constantly coming to our staff asking for feedback and support on the programming that we're offering them. We have committees that we use throughout the year where we get feedback directly from our staff. We've partnered with organizations that provide mental health support for our staff to make it easy for access. You can reach out to them, schedule an appointment, and be seen. We offer also just your standard employee assistance programs, which allow teachers to be able to partake in mental health supports, virtual mental health supports. And we truly do try to marry the balance of work-life balance and then also the needs that are inherent with our community. And it's a constant dance, and we're constantly learning, and we're constantly ebbing and flowing, but we do truly believe you can have a balance. And so we're listening to what our teachers say to ensure that they're able to get that.
Very nice. And then I know as you were giving me the tour of the school, you were telling me like you do not have a full-time librarian, but you depend on the community not only to provide books for the library, but also services for the library. Can you talk about what types of services that your school needs, that for those that are in the Atlanta market that are watching this show, how they can come and volunteer to help with your library, or even the authors and that has books for children from K to 8 can donate to your library?
Absolutely. So we have our library posse, and it's a group of parents, community volunteers, retired individuals who support our library. Unfortunately, we are not in a position to be able to staff a full-time library position, and so we're depending on the support of this community to keep our library working. And so what that work looks like is that they come in, they're shelving books, they're helping students check out books, they've written grants to get support for purchasing additional books. It's the full gamut of everything you need to run a highly functioning library program is what these volunteers have been able to do. When we talk about ways that people can plug in to support the school, we have volunteer days for our community gardens, so people can come in. We've had different organizations volunteer days, to service in our garden. We have opportunities for people to volunteer during career week.
Okay.
We have opportunities for people to volunteer during Read Across America week, where we've got secret mystery readers that will come in and read to students. It's every traditional need that schools typically have, we have them, but often we have them exponentially higher because we're not able to access the economy of scales that comes with being in a traditional school.
Yes.
We're kind of going at this work kind of solo. So oftentimes I tell people, yes, we definitely need the manpower, we definitely need the financial support, but oftentimes we just need the warm introductions too. Who should we be, who out in the Atlanta metro area should be aware of the work that we're doing, and who would want to support the work that we're doing? I know that a lot of people often feel, especially in this political climate, feel very disengaged and oftentimes very frustrated with the what we're being handed on a daily basis. But this is a way that you can really plug in and see the impact of your time, your money, your resources in action right in front of you, is through supporting the school. So I often say, for me, I know that I won't have a huge impact on the national level, but I know that I can have an impact every day on the local level just through the work that we're doing here in the school, and others can take advantage of those opportunities too.
Very nice. So for people that may be interested in volunteering that are watching the show, how can they learn more about your volunteer opportunities and when they will be? Absolutely.
So oftentimes we make call for volunteers on our social media accounts. So that's International Community School, that's Instagram as well as Facebook. We also oftentimes make calls for action on LinkedIn. So if you follow any of those pages, you can learn about upcoming events. The other easy way is to send an email to hello@icsgeorgiaspelledout.org, and we will keep you aware of what are the future opportunities that are coming up for ways to engage with us.
Very nice. So, of course, like I said, your school has such a vast variety of just not only teachers but your students itself, and you have this strategic plan through 2027. One of the biggest things is finding the bigger location, but then also expanding your reach. What are some things for people in the audience, for either through their companies or them personally, that they can be able to either donate, give grants, or assist with just donating funds personally? How can they do that?
Yes. Our website recently was updated to tell the story of our transformational journey. That is actually what we've coined the next 3 years of our work as our transformational journey, because we recognize that we will not look the way we look 3 years from now, the way we look today. Yeah. We will be growing our student body by additional 50 students, which also means we're growing our staff by, so we're increasing that way. If we're able to solidify a new location, then our footprint will change, and we will be doing this work in hopefully the community that our students live in. So if people want to keep track of the transformational journey and our progress towards that work, you can visit our website at www.icsgeorgia.org, and there's a option for transformational journey, which you can click on, and it will give you ways that you can donate, but then also ways to just stay informed of how we're progressing on this path forward.
Very nice. And for those that are interested in donating either through like a Amazon wish list or monetarily, how can they do that also?
Oftentimes we will publish those needs on our Instagram social media accounts, but they can also email us and we will share those lists with them. If you're interested in making a financial donation, you are able to do that through our website. But if there is an organization that wants to make a donation but also wants to lean in other ways, if they reach out to us, we will make sure that we're able to fulfill whatever the needs are. Because oftentimes donors want to be able to give financially but also give in other ways. And so we can make sure that we have a program that aligns with whatever those needs are.
Perfect. And of course, you know, you're coming to the end of the current school year with summer coming around the corner. And I know a lot of parents, their constant battle is keeping the students engaged while on summer break, that they don't forget stuff. So how does ICS help their parents to keep those students engaged and keep them aligned to when they come back in the fall, they don't forget some of the stuff they learned?
So I will tell you, one of the main things that we encourage our students to do is to continue to read. Read throughout the summer. We have a partnership with the Clarkston Community, the library, where we've done some events with them in partnership, and so we've helped students and families get library cards. So that's another way, and those services are free. Yes. You know, you just have to get to the library. We also send home summer packets for students to kind of work on throughout the summer. And then another way that we support families is connecting families with different resources in the community for summer camp. So those are the 3 ways. But the never fail, foolproof way to help students with the summer slide is reading.
Yes.
And so read anything, you know, whatever is the interest of the student, even having them cook with you and read through the recipe, that is still reading. And as long as our students are reading during the summer, the slides should be very minimal.
Very nice. Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience about ICS that you want them to know about?
Yeah, it's something that I often share with people who visit our school. Not only are we an IB school, we're a community school, we're also a school that leans into the idea of the beloved community. And so in the early stages of discernment groups that were being had when the school was being created, they really brought in experts to help identify intentional ways that the school could become a beloved community. And so prior to the great Senator John Lewis's death, Congressman John Lewis, his death, he visited ICS, and there's a famous quote that we have where John Lewis is quoted saying that if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was here today, he would say ICS was his vision of the beloved community. And so that is something that we anchor our work in on a daily basis, is how can we live out this dream of the beloved community with how we engage with our students, our staff, our families, and then the broader community.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you so much for your time. For those, once again, look into and definitely like and follow International Community School on their social medias, but also see if you're in the Atlanta market, how you can also engage with the school, give support through volunteerism or financial or in-kind donations, and also seeing how your company can partner and help build this community and connection to the community through this school. Once again, everyone, definitely go to their website to learn more about ICS, how about their programs, and also I know a lot of people look into how they can help the teachers, because our teachers, like most, are behind the scenes, forgotten soldiers that has to do so much for so little. So for those that are interested in helping the educators here, definitely go to their website. And as was mentioned before, you can also email, especially if your company is looking to donate and volunteer and do other programs with the school. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. Definitely share this with your friends, family, and coworkers so they can learn more about this school. And then, of course, if your community or your county is looking to have a similar footprint, please definitely reach out to our guests to learn more, because we definitely want to have this kind of charter school in more communities to make it more accessible to those in need. So everyone, thank you again for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii in a perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course, versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.